With the Kingdom line well underway, midway through the series, I felt there are still a bunch of G1 characters that we still need for the War for Cybertron trilogy line. And I believe Hasbro and Takara Tomy have still yet to give us updated versions of some of our well-loved G1 characters. Here's a small list I compiled and some of my thoughts and what I think Hasbro and Takara Tomy need to give us in this line, or perhaps in the succeeding trilogy. Okay, first things first, let's get a few characters out of the way, like Galvatron. Galvatron, it's been rumored too much. I honestly think that it's already a sure figure that we are getting. I'd be very disappointed if we do not get a Galvatron for the Kingdom line. He's been teased here and there, so not going to mention Galvatron as part of the list. I think we will get Galvatron. If we don't, oh my goodness, I'm going to hate Hasbro for a long time. Okay, let's get this list going. First up, I've been mentioning this from my reviews of Cliffjumper, Bumblebee, Hubcap. I would love to see an updated version of the mini-bots, not in the legend scale, but in the deluxe class scale. It would be amazing if they could do the same treatment they did with Bumblebee and Cliffjumper. If we could get Brawn and Gears and Windcharger. You can see Huffer in the picture. We are getting Huffer for the second wave of the Kingdom line, which is all well and good. We're getting Pipes in a succeeding wave. So that's great. It's very promising that we might see the other mini-bots. Other mini-bots I would love to see redone for the War for Cybertron trilogy are these guys: Cosmos, Power Glide, Sea Spray, Beachcomber. We've already gotten Warpath, so that's great. If you can get the rest of these guys, that would be amazing. Next is an Earth Mode Hound. The Siege Hound was an amazing figure, but I would love to see him in his Jeep mode, his Earth-based Jeep mode done in this line. It would be amazing. I think they can recycle the engineering if they wanted to, just change a few bits and pieces here and there just to make him look like the Jeep Willys alt mode that he had. Hound was one of my first G1 toys, and I really love this figure. I had a lot of fond memories playing with this figure. The G1 Hound alt mode was something else. It was really, really amazing. I remember all those weapons. I lost all those weapons. They were either lost or broken. They had chrome parts. I mean, I wish Hasbro could do this for us. Robot mode just has so much nostalgia, and it was really definitely one of my favorite G1 figures. If I can get a reissue for this figure, I would definitely get one. Now, here's something I wasn't sure about. It's one of those mail-away group of figures, the Autobot Omnibots. They were mail-away figures. I think when I was a kid, I had camshaft. My brother had overdrive. We never got downshift. It would be great if we could get these guys. We could get recycled molds. It would be fine, I think, because their original molds, let's face it, they weren't the best robot modes, but they were amazing car modes. And I'm guessing Hasbro can do this in the Generation Selects line, and we could have this one like from the Sideswipe mold, and the other two could be from the Runabout or Run Amok mold or something like that. But it would be nice if we can get these Omnibots. If Hasbro and Takara Tomy do decide to do the Omnibots, I think it would be great. I hope they would include a lot of chrome pieces and really lots of great aesthetics for the figures. This would be amazing. I think lots of nostalgia, and a lot of collectors I think would be gunning for these figures if they do them in the War for Cybertron trilogy or some form or another. And then G1 Tracks, probably my favorite G1 figure of all time. This was my very first G1 figure, and it's been rumored that we're going to get it, but I want to put it out there just to reiterate the fact that I hope Hasbro really does justice to this figure. We've gotten him for the universe and revealed the shield and all that, but I think we need a more accurate G1 Tracks for the Generations line. And there's Skids, a figure that I never got as a kid. I wanted this figure, but I could just never get it. It was just either out of stock or sold out everywhere, and Transformers were very difficult to find in our country back in the day, and we would have to get Transformers from Japan from Hong Kong. There was not a strong Hasbro presence back then. And one of the figures I really wanted was Skids. For some reason, I don't know, I thought it was a pretty cool robot. He would shrink, he would compress down to a very small Honda minivan, and then it would transform into a very tall robot. I thought that was pretty cool back then. And I hear Hasbro or Takara Tomy is doing a Masterpiece Skids, and they've done a Masterpiece Hound. So I'm guessing, you know, logic would dictate they could do a Generation Skids and a Generations Hound if they've done the Masterpiece version. And then there's the Dinobots. We've already gotten Grimlock for the Studio Series 86. Slag has been rumored, or Slug. And the 3 other Dinobots, if Hasbro and Takara Tomy could just give us every one of them, including Snarl, even if it's for the Studio Series 86 line, I would be very, very happy. I could do away with the Power of the Primes Dinobots. Just having all 5 of them in a modern, updated look would be amazing. Then we have Blitzwing. We've already got an Astro Train redone as a leader class. It would be great if we can also have the same format for Blitzwing and for Octane. These guys have gotten Voyager class figures for Titan's Return, but they were okay, but they weren't spectacular figures. I think Hasbro can do better. And if they turn them into leader class or overpriced Voyagers into the leader class, then I'd be totally okay with it. And then we have Windblade. Now, I know Hasbro has already done a bunch of figures depicting the speaker, or Windblade. But I think we can do, or we deserve a more comic book accurate Windblade, perhaps with better engineering. I mean, the first couple of Windblade figures were great, but I think Hasbro can do a better job and give us a more comic book accurate Windblade. If we can get something that looks so much like the comic book and then transformed smoothly like an animated Windblade, that would be amazing. And I think for a lot of collectors, Windblade is like a Bumblebee figure or an Optimus Prime figure. She's a very popular character. I don't think Hasbro can do wrong if they reissue a few more figures of Windblade. And finally, we need a Blaster and his minions. I mean, if Hasbro could give us an amazing Soundwave with all the cassettes and the minions, they should come pretty automatic, I think. We need a Blaster and his cassettes and minions to go with Soundwave. This is something I really hope we get. And not just a re-engineered Soundwave. I do hope he gets his own mold. And even the cassettes, I do hope they get their own mold as well. So that's my G1 character list that I feel Hasbro and Takara Tomy need to give us for the Kingdom line. And if not the Kingdom line, maybe in the succeeding trilogy that Hasbro is planning for Generations. These are amazing characters and I think well loved by fans. And I think they deserve a modern update for the Generations line. I will be coming up with a video for my predictions of what the next trilogy of Generations figures Hasbro could be doing. These are predictions. I'm going to make a separate video out of that, so do stay tuned for that. Also, I do have another video coming up on the list of Beast Wars characters that we need for the Kingdom line or for the Generations line in general. So do stay tuned for that one. Let me know in the comments what you think of my G1 character list. Do you agree with me? Do you have other characters in mind that you think Hasbro should do for the Generations line? Let me know in the comment section. And as always, hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any of my latest video reviews. If it's your first time here, please subscribe. And if you want to help the channel out, please check out my Patreon account. There's a link in the description box below. Thanks for watching.